In the sprawling, forgotten corners of the American South, where the asphalt cracks like sun-baked earth and the law often rides a slow, broken-down truck, there exists an understanding. It's a shadow code, written not in legislation, but in gasoline, sweat, and spilled blood. They call it the Silent Oath. For the rest of the world, they are the Iron Cross Outlaws Motorcycle Club, a threat, a nuisance, an artifact of a violent past that refuses to die. They ride with colors that declare their independence from civilization and faces that carry the weight of hard choices. But if you dig beneath the veneer of rebellion and the smoke of burnt rubber, you might find something else entirely, a missing chapter in the narrative of justice. This is the story of Grave, the president of the Iron Cross, a man whose presence is as heavy and silent as a tombstone. Grave wasn't born for this life. He was forged by it. His eyes hold the weary wisdom of 100 battles fought in the moral grey. He leads a pack of men, Hog, the hulking sergeant-at-arms, and Vex, the sharp-witted vice president, who are feared by most, but revered by the few who have seen them drop the mask of the outlaw and take up the mantle of the reluctant protector. Their legend isn't built on drug runs or turf wars. It's built on the principle that there are lines even outlaws don't cross. And when others cross those lines against the innocent, the Iron Cross steps in to draw a new boundary in the dirt. Their current mission wasn't a heist or a ride to a rundown bar. It began with a whisper in the wind, a call for help from a place the regular police considered a lost cause, Redemption Valley. It was a community devastated not by poverty or natural disaster, but by calculated, slow-moving malice. A corporation, a shadowy entity known only as OmniCorp, had arrived 2 years ago promising progress and jobs. What they delivered was ecological ruin and systematic eviction. They had purchased the local water rights, poisoned the ancient aquifer with industrial waste, and then used the resulting health crisis as leverage to buy out the remaining family farms for pennies on the dollar. The local sheriff, a man named Brody, was on OmniCorp's payroll, turning a blind eye to the suffering, actively blocking any legal relief. The people of Redemption Valley were drowning in toxic water and despair. Grave received the call not through official channels, but from an old, dirt-poor mechanic named Silas, who once fixed Grave's bike in the middle of a blizzard, refusing payment but asking for a promise. The promise was simple. If Silas ever needed the kind of help no badge could provide, Grave would answer. Now, Silas's granddaughter, a little girl named Lily, was critically ill from the tainted water, and Silas's farm was set for mandatory forfeiture in 3 days. The corporation wanted the land for a massive, toxic landfill, the final insult. Grave listened to the raw pain in Silas's voice, the sound of a good man losing everything to a cold machine. That pain bypassed the outlaw, going straight to the core of the man who remembered injustice. Grave called a mandatory chapel meeting, the most sacred gathering of the Iron Cross. The clubhouse was dark, thick with the smell of leather and stale beer. He stood before his men, his voice a low rumble that nonetheless silenced every whisper. He laid out the situation. OmniCorp isn't just taking land. They are drowning a community. They're poisoning children. And the law, the one they print in books, is helping them do it. Hog shifted, his huge hands clenching into fists. Vex leaned forward, his eyes sharp. What's the play, President? This ain't about territory. This is fighting a ghost with lawyers. Grave looked at his men, his gaze unwavering. Our territory is wherever the innocent are being crushed by the powerful. Our code is simple. We protect the weak, we punish the predatory. Road justice is about stepping up when the system steps down. We hit the nerve, the money, and the proof. The plan was surgical and brutally precise. They weren't going after the henchmen, they were going after the ledger. OmniCorp's regional director, a smooth operator named Sterling, was scheduled to host a private meeting at a remote hunting lodge, finalizing the last of the land grabs, including Silas's property. Sterling would have the signed corporate documents, the proof of the payoff to Sheriff Brody, the environmental impact cover-up, and the legal documents to seal Redemption Valley's fate. The Iron Cross would intercept the meeting, secure the evidence, and ensure that Sterling's operations ceased to exist, not with a whisper, but with a thunderous, undeniable statement. They were not there to murder. They were there to end impunity. For the Iron Cross, violence was not a choice of malice, but an ethical tool used to enforce their rigid, self-defined code of honor. The night they rode out, their motorcycles cut through the silence like the sound of impending thunder. The road was their court, and justice was about to be served raw and unforgiving. They were riding not as criminals, but as the only cavalry those people had left, embracing the truth of the missing chapter, that sometimes the ones who break the rules are the only ones left to uphold the truth. The silent oath was about to be fulfilled. Block 02. The ride to the Black Ridge hunting lodge was a meditation in motion. The Iron Cross, a phalanx of steel and shadow, moved across the back roads, their engines roaring the promise of retribution. Each mile reinforced the gravity of their purpose. They weren't just stealing documents, they were reclaiming the sovereignty of a community. Hog, riding flanking Grave, glanced back at Vex, who gave a sharp, affirmative nod. They were a machine honed by years of conflict, each man knowing his role in this peculiar brand of outlaw heroism. Their honor demanded precision, minimizing collateral damage while maximizing impact on the genuinely guilty. The lodge was isolated, perched atop a bluff overlooking the poisoned valley, a poetic location for the architects of ruin. Sterling, smug and secure, had only 2 armed security guards, relying on the remoteness and the complicity of Sheriff Brody for safety. Brody was miles away, supposedly patrolling, but in reality waiting for a hefty bribe deposit to clear. The Iron Cross parked their bikes half a mile down the access road, plunging the final distance through thick, dark brush. The element of surprise was their most valuable weapon. Grave had scouted the location meticulously, mapping out escape routes and the most direct path to the evidence. The insertion was swift. Hog took out the first guard near the service entrance with a silent, heavy blow, a practiced application of force that incapacitated without permanent injury. Vex disabled the external power generator, not just plunging the lodge into darkness, but crippling the external communication lines. Inside, Sterling and 2 OmniCorp executives were finalizing the paperwork by the flickering light of a gas lantern, raising toasts to their successful land grab. The laughter died in their throats when Grave, framed in the doorway, filled the sudden silence. He held a sawn-off shotgun, not pointed at them, but leveled deliberately low, a statement of intent that was more chilling than a direct threat. His voice was a flat, cold command. The party is over. The missing chapter is being written now. Sterling, recognizing the colors of the Iron Cross, attempted a desperate bravado. "You won't get away with this, outlaw. The law will hunt you down." Grave took a slow step closer, his shadow swallowing the executive's whole. "The law? Sheriff Brody is counting his money right now, Sterling. You broke the covenant. You poisoned the well. You stole from the helpless, and you bought off the keepers of the peace. You forfeited your protection." Grave's code was clear. Crimes against the innocent were unforgivable. Their violence was not wanton. It was a calibrated ethical response to a systemic failure. This wasn't vigilantism for ego. It was road justice for survival. As the remaining security guard made a panicked reach for his sidearm, Vex moved with blinding speed, a flash of motion ending with the guard crumpled against a mahogany table. Hog, meanwhile, had found the briefcase containing the documents. He laid it before Grave. "Everything, President. The deeds, the payoffs, the full environmental cover-up report." Grave didn't even look at the documents. His focus remained entirely on Sterling. "You sign one more document tonight. A full, notarized confession of the bribery and the contamination. You will also transfer the water rights back to the Redemption Valley Community Trust." Sterling stammered, refusing, mentioning his lawyers, his power. That was when the outlaw code was fully revealed. Hog produced a heavy, custom-made branding iron heated to a low glow in the fireplace, shaped like a broken scale of justice. The threat wasn't death. It was indelible shame, a permanent mark that would serve as a warning to all who looked to profit from the suffering of others. The symbolism was brutal. They were marking him as an enemy of the code, an oppressor, a predatory force. Faced with the choice of cooperating or carrying a permanent brand of dishonor, Sterling broke. He signed the confession. He signed the documents transferring the critical water rights back to the community, and he dictated a video statement detailing the entire conspiracy, recorded on Vex's small, rugged camera. The evidence was irrefutable. With the mission complete, Grave looked at the ruined executives. You are not victims of crime. You are recipients of justice. When the law fails, the road takes over. They left the executives tied up, but unharmed, surrounded by the physical evidence of their conspiracy and the legal documents undoing their destruction. Grave threw the briefcase containing all the damning evidence, the signed confession, the video, the transferred deeds, onto the front porch of Silas's farm, right before the break of dawn. He didn't wait for thanks. The silent oath didn't require gratitude. It required adherence to the code. By the time Sheriff Brody arrived hours later, alerted by a terrified Sterling, the Iron Cross Outlaws were long gone, melted back into the shadows of the open road. Brody found not just the trussed-up executives, but a mountain of undeniable proof. Faced with a choice between going to prison with OmniCorp or doing his job, Brody chose the latter. The news of the corporate scandal and the immediate restoration of the community's water rights hit the national news cycle hard. The authorities chased the narrative of a violent robbery, but the people of Redemption Valley knew the truth. They had been saved, not by the government, but by the men society called villains. The legend of the missing chapter was etched deeper into the fabric of the American road, a brutal, noble truth that sometimes honor rides on the back of a roaring motorcycle, wearing the colors of an outlaw.